Hello everyone, this is Yeshua said my name. In today's video, I want to discuss with you the Jesuit oath of induction. I've had a couple of subscribers mention to me, both in the comments section and in emails, that they would like to see an update on the Jesuit oath of induction. And some of you, I believe, are new to this. I've even had a couple of new believers write me recently, which I'm so thankful for. I know some of this material that is presented on this channel is new to some people. So there are times I will do refresher videos to help cover that ground again for new subscribers, or maybe those who are just not as familiar with these topics that we discuss. Before we get into the Jesuit extreme oath of induction, I wanted to read the scripture for you from 1 Corinthians 15:58. I really felt it encouraged me this morning. I put it on my Twitter feed this morning, and I also wanted to put it out to you guys today. I felt the Lord wanted me to read this today. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable always, abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. And I think that all the scripture says so much. Be steadfast, don't back down. Be unmovable, dig your heels in against the enemy. Always abounding in the work of the Lord. Don't let anything stop you. For as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Regardless of what Satan tells you, when God calls you to do something and you obey him, you are successful simply because you're obeying the Lord, not whether you see the results you want to see right away. I can't stress that enough. You're not a failure if you don't see the results that you want to see right away with whatever God is calling you to do. A failure would be someone who does not serve the Lord, someone who outright disobeys God and does not follow through with what God has called he or she to do. However, if you're doing what God has called you to do and you're working in the Lord, your labor is not in vain. You're a success because you obey God. But I wanted to start off this video with this encouragement for you, okay? Let's go over to the Jesuit extreme oath of induction. Again, I've had a couple of emails from people saying this is new for them. I've had a couple of people that have come out of the Catholic Church recently email me asking certain questions about the Catholic Church, also questions about the Jesuits and their oath of induction. And so this is a video for these emails that have come into me, and a refresher. For those of you who do not know who the Jesuits are, this page that I'm giving you here, and there's a link up here for you, will on reformation.org will give you the Jesuit extreme oath of induction. The Jesuits are the military arm of the Vatican. Saint Ignatius Loyola established the Jesuit extreme oath of induction back in the 1400s. Basically, their whole agenda and what they have decided to do in the world is put in this oath of induction here. One thing you may not be aware of either is that in the Library of Congress in the United States, this Jesuit extreme oath of induction is there. If you look up the Library of Congress and on Google and type in the Jesuit oath of induction, Library of Congress, look it up on a search engine and see what you find. It will be in the Library of Congress with the catalog number and everything. So this has not been rescinded either. It is still used to this day, and so are their efforts that are ongoing in the Jesuit system. Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. Before my mother passed away, I miss her terribly. It's been a year and a half now. Before she passed away, she emailed me when Francis became pope. And she said, oh, of course, he's a Jesuit. So she understood very well what the Jesuits were about, what their plan was, not only in the Catholic Church, but Protestant churches as well. So getting straight to it here, let's get to some of the key statements that are in this video that I think I want to stand out to you. And most of them will be in red, but there are some others also that I will read. When a Jesuit of the minor rank is to be elevated to command, he is conducted into the chapel of the Covenant of the Order, where there are only 3 others present. And it goes on to say that there's a black banner and a dagger and a red cross above skull and crossbones. Now, the skull and crossbones are also a secret society, which many presidents have been a part of, as well as Freemasonry. The meaning of it of INRI, and below them the words Ustum necar regis impius, the meaning which is, it is just to exterminate or annihilate impious or heretical kings, governments, or rulers. Basically, anyone who defies the papacy in Rome, who defies the mother church, the Vatican, according to Revelation 17, Mystery Babylon, they consider a heretic and will use any means they can to subvert you, to attack you, to target you. They will infiltrate churches with their doctrines. And here we read here, when they're taking their oath. My son, heretofore you have been taught to act the dissembler among Roman Catholics, to be a Roman Catholic, and to be a spy even among your own brethren, to believe no man, to trust no man. Among the reformers, be a reformer. Among the Huguenots, be a Huguenot. Among the Calvinists, to be a Calvinist. Among the Protestants, generally to be a Protestant. Listen to this part. And obtaining their confidence, to seek even to preach from their pulpits and to denounce with all vehemence in your nature our holy religion, the Pope. So they're told to infiltrate Protestant churches, obtain their confidence, and preach from their pulpits, even denouncing the Pope and their own religion. So that's why I say, whatever you hear from a pulpit, whether you're Catholic or Protestant, look it up in the Word of God. Test it to see if it's from God. The enemy goes behind front lines of the opposing force by looking like their opponent. No soldier on a battlefield is going to go into the enemy's front lines looking like an enemy, are they? They're going to be picked out immediately as an enemy. When you're in a battle, most people will steal the enemy's uniform. They will learn to speak like the enemy, think like the enemy, behave like the enemy, so that once they infiltrate enemy lines, they're not detected very easily. So this is what they're doing. Generally, to be a Protestant, obtain their confidence, to seek even to preach from their pulpits, and to denounce with all vehemence in your nature our holy religion and the Pope. So they're told, denounce the Pope in the pulpit, act like you're a Protestant, gain their confidence. So when I tell you that there are Jesuits creeping into Protestant churches with their doctrines, that's part of their goal. It's stated right here in this paragraph, and you can read it for yourself. That's part of Satan's goal, is to infiltrate looking like a messenger of righteousness. To infiltrate, and his workers look like messengers of righteousness as well. This is what they say right here. You have been taught insidiously plant the seeds of jealousy and hatred between communities, provinces, states that were at peace, and to incite them to deeds of blood, involving them in war with each other, to create revolutions and civil wars in countries that were independent and prosperous. Now, hold it right there for a minute. This order out of chaos that is mentioned in Freemasonry, to me, it's very explanatory right here in this paragraph that we just read. Let's create the chaos so we can swoop in and create the order. Order ab chaos, order out of chaos, because it says here that the end justifies the means, and what they do here is plant jealousy, incite them to deeds of blood, involving them in war with each other. Now, these are the Jesuits that serve the Vatican, and in the book of Revelation, it states that God lays at the feet of the Vatican all the blood of those who have been slain since the foundation of the world. That's what it says in Revelation, that at the feet of Mystery Babylon, of the whore of Babylon, God lays the responsibility of all the blood that's been shed since the beginning of the world at her feet. We can see this through this oath. Deeds of blood, involving them in war, create revolutions, and so on. It says here, you have been taught your duty as a spy to gather all statistics, facts, and information in your own power from every source, to ingratiate yourself into the confidence of the family of circle of Protestants and heretics of every class and character. So anyone who is exposing the Vatican, exposing the papacy, who holds strictly to the gospel of Christ, is considered a heretic. The Catholic Church believes, and so does the papacy, that you must submit to the Roman pontiff in order to be saved. Okay? This is what I went over in yesterday's video. So now we get into the extreme oath of the Jesuits. All right. Now you can read through all of this prayerfully on your own, but I wanted to get to this down here in red. I furthermore promise and declare that I will, when opportunity present, make and wage relentless wars, secretly or openly, against all heretics, Protestants, and liberals, as I am directed to do, to extirpate and exterminate them from the face of the whole earth. And that I will spare neither age, sex, or condition, and that I will hang, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate forever their execrable race. And when the same cannot be done openly, I will secretly use the poisoned cup, the strangulating cord, the steel of the poignard, or the leaden bullet, regardless of the honor, rank, dignity, or authority of the person or persons, whatever may be their condition in life, either public or private, as I at any time may be directed to do so by any agent of the Pope or superior of the Brotherhood of the Holy Faith, the Society of Jesus. Now, when you read this, does this sound like something Christ came into the world preaching? When you hear these words spoken out of this whole oath, is any of this godly? Of course not. Jesus never came preaching that we're to do this to people that we disagree with or people that don't believe as we do. So that's why I expose this, that even though I'm all for treating an enemy as you want to be treated, feeding them if they're hungry, giving them something to drink if they're thirsty, praying for those who despitefully use you, praying for an enemy. Yes, we are, but we are never to compromise the truth of the gospel to please the Vatican, to please a Protestant pastor, to please family members. We are never to compromise the truth. This is not what Christ called us to be. He called us to expose the deeds of darkness, but he never called us to be violent. That's why he said, be as wise as a serpent, but as innocent as a dove. You can expose the deeds of darkness, Ephesians 5:11, and be as wise as the serpent, but you must be as innocent and gentle as the dove when you do it. This oath here has nothing to do with the gospel. It has everything to do with Satan infiltrating the world through what appears to be messengers that look like lambs on the outside, but speak the words of the dragon on the inside, that look like messengers of righteousness, but they inwardly serve Satan. So I wanted to go over this with you again. Those of you who are new maybe to coming out of the Catholic faith, maybe you've always wondered what the Jesuits are about. What do they stand for? What are their doctrines? What is their purpose? What you'll be told on the outside of the church is that they're simply a godly order out to help the world, not according to this Jesuit extreme oath of induction that is in the Library of Congress in the United States of America and has never been rescinded. So I encourage you to look up this article here and prayerfully study what is being shown. And if you can, expose it for people, try and pull them out, pray that God would open up their eyes. But when I hear of churches that have Jesuits creeping in, that have their doctrines creeping in, that do not stop Freemasonry from creeping into the churches and holding high-ranking positions, the red flag goes up for me. And in my opinion, any pastor who does not vet the wolves or doesn't listen to counsel when the wolves come creeping in, there's another agenda going on. And I no longer hold the same respect anymore for that pastor. So that pastor may not be aware of it. Maybe he is just unaware. Fine. But when it's brought to his attention and he doesn't even prayerfully consider what you're showing him about this, that would catch my attention is all I'm saying. So hopefully this answers some questions. These are very elementary statements that I'm giving you here on this subject. This subject goes far deeper than I'm expressing right now. It's like peeling away an onion. Like each layer that you peel away, when you learn about the New World Order, when you learn about the papacy in Rome, the Jesuit oath of induction, Freemasonry, the skull and bones, with each layer you pull away, it makes more and more sense now why Daniel called the New World Order a beast system. When he called the world order a beast, it devours the whole world, Daniel said. And it literally has. Our job is not to stop it. We can't stop it. Only Christ will do that when he returns. Our job is to expose it, Ephesians 5:11, and draw others away from it. We are to be as wise as the serpent, know what's going on, know Satan's devices, expose his devices, but be as innocent as a dove. So their purpose, they are the military arm of the Vatican to this day. And believe me when I tell you that Pope Francis most definitely took this oath. It is still in operation today, this oath. It has not been taken out of the Library of Congress. And their agenda is to infiltrate Protestant churches, to earn their trust, to become a Protestant and even to openly denounce the Catholic Church and the Pope, even though secretly they don't denounce the Catholic Church and the Pope. That's probably why some Freemasons are not confronted when they creep into the church. Some of them are Freemasons. And this is the main portion of this oath that I wanted you to read that has nothing to do with how Christ called us to live toward others. So, the Jesuit order, created by Ignatius Loyola in the 1400s, right around when the Reformation started, to become the military arm of the Vatican to carry out the Pope's tasks of infiltrating the world, not only with the Vatican agendas, but also to plant seeds of destruction, jealousy, hatred between communities that were at peace, to create the chaos and then come in and seem to be the ones to create the order. And of course, recently I did a video on Pope Francis and how he said, oh, post-pandemic, we need a new world order. I think I did that 3 videos ago. I think this was a week or so ago, if you want to backtrack and hear that. But they're all about this. They're not hiding it anymore, and this is not just conspiracy theory. It used to be that if you talked about these things even 10 years ago, somebody might think you're crazy, okay? But as you can see, these things are not so hidden anymore. It's because I believe that we are in the season of everything being fulfilled that was written about these last days. Thank you for listening, guys. Again, whatever the Lord has called you to do, whether you think you see results or not, that doesn't determine whether you're successful in what you do for the Lord. You're successful because you obey God and do what He asked you to do. Remember that. For as much as you know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord, doesn't matter what He's called you to do. If you're faithfully obeying Him and doing it, it is never in vain. God bless you guys, and thank you so much for listening, and Lord willing, more to come soon.